college track and field is so competitive that it's basically professional level. That is why the best teams take recruiting incredibly seriously. We know this because athletes like Grant Holloway won the NCAA championship, indoors and outdoors, as a freshman, before becoming a world champion. But if you really want to know who's going where in recruiting, good luck piecing it all together. Because for the longest time, ranking track and field recruits has just been taking a screenshot of the top season best performances for all the high school boys in any event. I'm not saying that it isn't helpful, but let's be honest, recruiting is way deeper than that. Bronny James was a McDonald's All-American in basketball, but he averaged fewer than 15 points per game during his senior year. So if we were just going off of the stats, he'd be nowhere near the top 100. And I have had enough of it, because track and field recruiting is a very big deal, and all the top teams and their coaches have figured that out. They only want the best of the best. But in order to recruit those athletes, you first have to know who's real and who's not. That's why I created recruiting rankings for all the top track and field recruits in every event group, the same way 247 and Rivals do it in football and basketball, because you can figure out who is really the best athlete, regardless of event, if you ask the right questions. I could tell you how I do it. There's professional judgment and a whole bunch of math involved, but I'm sure you really don't care about that, so I won't bore you. So this is a breakdown of the top 10 boys recruits for track and field in the class of 2024. They're not the only 5 stars on my national list, but with everything we have to go off of, they stand out as clearly the best heading into this season. If you click the link in the description, you can view my full national list for the top 300 boys recruits in the entire nation. Because who knows, you just might be on it. I will have a girls list, as well as ones for underclassmen coming out soon. And even if you're not on my list yet, and you want to go D1, and you think you deserve to be on my national ranking list, then you can also send me your information on my website to have a chance to get ranked on my 5-star system. I have to admit that there's no guarantee that you'll get on, but it does give me a chance to consider you. And if you disagree with me, that's fine, because rankings don't mean anything after the gun goes off. And if anything that I say actually connects with you, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe. But if I don't, just let me know in the comments section, because I try to read them all. Ranked number 10 in the nation, I have a 3-way tie, and they all happen to be distance runners. The first is Daniel Simmons, from the state of Utah, who's committed to run for BYU. He's ranked 95 on my scale, because he was the national leader in the 3K, and also cracked the top 10 in the 1500. But Joseph Jojo Jourdon, also out of Utah, has the exact same ranking, because he went number 6 and number 5 overall in those same events. The only difference between them is that he is committed to Wake Forest, which makes him the leader of a very underrated recruiting class going into next season. All that being said, Ethan Hogan from Illinois is the last of the talented trio. He's headed to UNC and banked his 95 by going 3rd on the national list in the 1500 and then 8th in the 3K. All 3 boys have the potential to be game changers and will make a huge difference in cross country and on the track next season. Ranked number 9 is a sprinter out of California, Jourdon Washington. He's ranked 96 on my scale because he went top 5 in the 100 and the 200. But he's also a football player committed to the Arizona Wildcats, so it is uncertain if we'll ever actually see him on the track for their team. The football theme continues at the number 8 spot, but this time in the throws. Brayden Platt out of Washington is a 97 on my scale, and arguably the best thrower in the nation because he is the national leader in the javelin, but also top 5 in the shot put. He is committed to play football for the Oregon Ducks, but does appear to be intent on competing in both sports next year. Ranked number 7 is Anthony Waterman, a talented hurdler out of Maryland. He's a 97 on my scale and committed to Kentucky. His talent in the 110 hurdles and the 300 hurdles make it clear that he has the talent to take over the NCAA. And we know that Kentucky knows how to coach hurdlers. Daniel Roberts is proof of that. The number 6 spot, however, goes to another future Oregon Duck. Benjamin Smith is the top thrower in the nation as far as I'm concerned, out of Wisconsin. And he doesn't plan to play football either. He went number 1 in the shot put and number 2 in the discus. So adding him and Brayden Platt is a very big deal, because think about it. They're the only throwers in the nation to make the top 10 list. At the number 5 spot is the only currently uncommitted athlete in the top 10. Gatlin Bair is a sprinter out of Idaho and a 97 on my scale. He decommitted in December from Boise State. He's number 2 in the nation in the 100 and the fastest boy in the 200. But we still don't know where he's going to be, either on the field or on the track. The boy who beat him out as the fastest 100-meter runner was also right behind him in the 200. It's Christian Miller out of the state of Florida. He's number 4 on my list and a 97 rating, but he's also committed to compete for the Georgia Bulldogs, which is a very big deal, which I'm sure will make sense in a moment. However, the final 3 names on this list stand out because they were the only ones to be ranked in 3 separate events throughout all of last season, which is why Sireece out of California earned a 98 rating and is the 3rd ranked recruit on my list. And like I just tried to tell you, he is also committed to compete for the Georgia Bulldogs. He's an incredibly talented sprinter who runs the 200, the 400, and the 800, but his best event is probably the 4. So we really don't know which event he'll focus on with the Bulldogs, but for them, that's a good problem to have. And it was close, but I had to give the number 2 spot to Jayden from Texas, and he will also be competing for the Georgia Bulldogs. He's the best combo hurdler in the nation between the 110s and the 300 hurdles, but he can also long jump with the best of them. The Bulldogs have a habit now of bringing in the top prospect out of Texas. They did it before with Matthew Bowling, but this recruiting class for 2024 is clearly the real deal. But after all that, the number 1 spot on this list, the top recruit for the class of 2024, had to go to Nicolas Crosswhite out of Georgia. But the Florida Gators, and not the Bulldogs, will be getting his services. He is a 99 rating on my scale. He earned the top spot by being the number 1 high jumper, and the number 1 long jumper, and the number 6 triple jumper in the entire nation. It's really hard to bet against him because all he's really been doing is winning in whatever meet he enters. Division I track and field is highly competitive. That's why getting recruited to compete in it is so hard to do. The boys on this list are the best right now. But remember, rankings don't mean anything after the gun goes off. College is a reset button on your high school career anyway. So all that really matters is what you do after you get there. But qualifying for a ranking list like this one sets incredibly high expectations for you when you get on campus, which is fine because all of them have the talent to back it up. Remember to check the full boys list on my website because you or someone you know might be on it. And like I said before, if you think I got it wrong, that's fine because rankings alone won't win a national championship, but very talented athletes certainly do. And remember, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe.